Hi, folks. Welcome to episode 56. I'm delighted to be back here in the podcast after a short absence. The reason, as you know, as I mentioned last time, I was traveling. I was in Portugal. I just came back literally this night. There was a couple of issues on the way. Nothing major, just things that happens when we travel. And Virginia can relate to that because she traveled a lot. We just realized that she also lived in Ireland, like myself. So another topic to discuss here. But the main thing is Israel, which is kind of prominent in these conversations. We discuss a lot about Israel because we need to clarify what Israel is. It's so much misrepresented in the media that we need to do our work to try to present the truth to the eyes of the public. So that's our main duty here. And in that note, I just want to pre-announce that on Wednesday we have 4 or 5 individuals who advocate for Israel. We're going to discuss what we need to do, how is the battlefield, what we can have fixed, for say, from a social media point of view, because everything happens nowadays on screen. So that's something essential for our fight. But we get into that later on. In the meantime, I want to encourage everyone to drop questions in the chat. If you haven't subscribed, please press that button. And if you want to make sure that these things are spread, the way to cooperate is just to press that button below, which is the like button. So please support us, because that's how we can get these things spread. So Virginia is very well traveled, and she's Spanish, okay? She lived in Portugal, Northern Ireland, Israel, and Brazil. So that's quite remarkable, So we're going to go through all that, and she did a lot. She's not just there sitting and watching. She did quite a lot. So there's a lot to go through in the next hour or so. Virginia, you are very welcome to this podcast.
Thank you so much. You are welcome to speak about all the subject about Israel, so we can start.
Very good, very good. So would you like to introduce yourself to the audience just in a couple of paragraphs?
Yes, so as you mentioned before, my name is Virginia. I grew up in Spain. I studied in Northern Ireland, okay, in Belfast. Then I moved to Portugal for 10 years, and then I moved to Brazil, okay, and then I moved to Israel. I live in Israel for 11 years now, and I have double nationality. So actually I'm Spanish and Israeli. So I used to work there like tour guide and working in tourism and also high tech. And I used to organize business delegations to know about high tech in Israel.
Yeah, that's quite a lot. So in a few countries, I think you touch by so many aspects of life and the environment that I think people are very curious to see what you did, what have you achieved so far, and I'm sure there is more to come in the next few years. So, do you remember the first time that you thought about leaving Spain? Was there like a driver for that, or just happened all of a sudden?
In Spain, you mean?
Yes, yeah.
Well, I was born in Toledo. I grew up in Santander, so it's my country. I feel that it's my country, and really is the place where I grew up. And the place where you grew up is going to mark all your life. And I think it's difficult that this is going to follow up all my life. So yes, this is my place also, of course, but Israel is very special place, and I live in there for 11 years, and I'm going to continue to live, I hope so, for a long time. But of course, Spain and Europe is part of my life, and also I'm between Europe and Israel, so Middle East.
Yeah. I mean, it's end of the day, it's all part of this Judaico-Christian civilization that we all belong one way or another. And I didn't know you were born in Toledo, which is quite remarkable in the
Yeah.
context of the Jewish history. And it's, I think, over the last years, a lot of work done on that regard. Did you follow what happened, like about the Toledo of before and the Toledo of the current day and age? Like, how did you see the change?
Yes, of course, I know about the history in Toledo and related with Israel because in 1492 they were expelled the Jews from Toledo, so it's very related with the history of the Judaism. Okay, and also there are many communities in the world that speak still speaking Ladino. Okay, that is the Spanish language speaking 500 years ago. So it's very related with Jerusalem and with Israel, and you can find Jews in Istanbul, in Greek, in Israel that they speak Ladino. That is the Spanish that the people used to speak 500 years ago. So it's very yeah, it's amazing to find people still with this connection to my place where I was born. So it's very special.
So you think the fact that you were born in Toledo was already a sign that at some point you would move to Israel, or it's something that you realize along the way?
No, just is quite connected. Yeah,
Mm.
in fact, even Toledo was called 5 years ago the Little Jerusalem, and Jerusalem is the city that I live actually. So you can imagine what is the special connection between the old city in Toledo and the old city in Jerusalem. Even if you visit the old city, you can see the physical connection between the two cities. They are very similar
Yeah.
in some ways. And even 500 years ago, Jerusalem was called the small Jerusalem because they used to live Muslim Jews, okay, and also Christians. And even today in Jerusalem, it happens the same. You can find the Islam quarter, also the Christian quarter and also the Jewish quarter. So it's very similar in many ways. So I think it's so connected with my life. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny, and I mean in brackets. Now it's funny that people don't know that in Israel there's so much coexistence between the main religions, and you just need to go to the old city and everyone is together. There are clashes, but people live next doors, but that's never told by the media.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, in Israel, 22% of the population is Israeli Arabs. Okay. More or less 19% of the population are Arabs Muslim, and 3% of the population of Israel are Arab Christians. So you can imagine that there are cities that even Jerusalem, Haifa, and other cities in Israel that the coexistence, okay, is every day. Even in Tel Aviv. In Tel Aviv, you can find Yafo. Most of the population in Yafo is Arabic, but you can find in a building Jewish people, Muslim people, or even Arab Christians. So it's very normal for us working together, have in your normal life, in your everyday life, to this coexistence. So this is something that usually is not mentioned in the social media or in the news because doesn't sell the idea that Israel is a, you know, is
An
a,
apartheid.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, but actually it's not apartheid. So
Yeah, not at all. I think people should see it with their own eyes, and you can relate that yourself as you travel. You understand the world way better because you can see it yourself, and you can experience, you can digest the information. You are not just being told by others. There's a big benefit of traveling, and I'm sure you encounter that, and you grow a lot by talking to these people and the other, and being next to things, and not just seeing them through a screen.
yeah. For me, I can speak about my example about what I live in Jerusalem. I used to live in two Arab companies. Okay, one of them belonged to three sisters, women, Arabs and Christians. So, and even the education of the Arab women, okay, is one of the if you go to other Arabic countries, okay, the education in women is even superior to the Arabic men. So this is, you can find Arab women working in doctors, in the hospitals, accountant, in the university. So this is a normal life in Israel, you know. There is freedom. They are representative of Arabs parties in the parliament. Okay, they have representation. They can vote, and this is not happening in other Arab country. There is not usually there is no democracy in other Arab countries. So in Israel they can find this. Okay, so I think it's an evidence that it's a democracy. It's the only democracy in the Middle East for me. I think so.
Yeah, 100%. There's no wonder some Arabs are very thankful to live there and don't go back to their home countries or to other Arab nations, because they are well more integrated, and they have plenty of opportunities that they'll never dream of if they will go back to where they came from. So that's why they stay. It's no wonder. Like even I remember, like, I don't know, maybe 5-10 years ago, the captain of the Israel national football team, he was an Arab, and that was never in the news. There was a Miss Israel. She was Muslim, and there are opportunities, and some people are taking advantage of them in the right way.
Yeah, even today you can find Muslim and Christian Arabs in the army, in the Israeli army. Actually, it's not, of course, the Israeli Arabs. They don't have to do the army. Okay, most of the people in Israel, even women and men, has to go to the army for 3 years. Okay, but the Arabs and Israeli Arabs that decided to go to the army is something that is volunteer, okay, that they decided to do it. So, but today we have people, Muslim and Christians, Arabs, in the Israeli army, okay. So I think this is the feeling of the new generation that the things are changing, in at least inside of the country, okay.
Yeah. Were you in the IDF yourself, or?
No. I make Aliyah, but I arrived to Israel. To go to the army, you need to wear between 18 and 22 years old maximum. So I arrived Israel when I was 31 years old, actually. So a little bit late to go to the army.
Yeah, a bit late, maybe.
Yes.
And tell me about your Aliyah journey. You know, when did you start it? What was the first motivator? How did you get into it? Because not everyone does it, but everyone thinks about it.
So first of all, when I visit for the first time Israel, I feel a connection that was so special, and also Zionism, and also the fact that it's the only country that is a Jewish country. So I'm Jewish, okay. So for me, it was the opportunity to live in the only Jewish country. Because if you live in Spain, you live in Portugal, you live in other countries, you are going to be a minority. But in Israel, first of all, it's the place where we come from, okay? Many years ago, the family and everything. And then the second is the connection that I feel, okay, with my country.
And you say the best thing to do is to be surrounded by your own people. That will be this sense of community that you will never encounter anywhere else. Yeah.
Exactly. It's difficult to find in other countries, because in other countries you are going to be only the minority. So that means when you are the minority, that it can happen things like it's happening in Germany. So you never know. And even in Spain 500 years ago, in Portugal. So it's, the Israel was created in order to protect the Jewish people. Okay, so and things happens, and I feel this is my country actually.
Yeah. Some people say that they wouldn't go to Israel because it's not safe, which I think it doesn't make sense these days, because it's true that Israel is under threatened. That's out of the question. But it's very well protected to respond to the attacks. Whereas, say in Europe, if something happened, we don't know what to do with ourselves. And Israel has the right setup to reply.
Yes, well, few days ago, I don't know exactly the person from the European Parliament speak, a woman, I don't know the name, I don't remember, speak that the European citizens, they need a special kit if something
Yes.
happens in Europe. So, and many people, I saw the comments, okay, in social media about this kit, and many Spanish people and other people, okay, it's from Spain, okay, I saw the news, and if you saw the comments, all the Spanish people tell that it doesn't make sense, this kit, that is not going to happen, nothing, because we are in Europe and whatever. And for us, it's something so common, okay, that the government told us you need to prepare yourself if something happens. Actually, we are we are one of the more technological countries, okay, and we are very well in defense, okay, but uh, yes, it's very safe to go to Israel, even today with the war, okay, because even that we have rockets from other countries, from Yemen, from Lebanon, from Gaza, we have the protection, okay. So the item the the protection is so well, and we have a new system now with laser, okay, that is the protection is even more. So I feel more safe, okay, that in Europe today, because if you see the news every day or every week is happening something in Germany, in Holland. I don't know, 2 days ago happened something in Holland, I think,
Yeah.
Amsterdam. So every week or every month we have news about that with terrorist attack in Europe. And the problem is now we see the news like something normal, when 20 years ago never happened this in Europe. So, and in Israel, when it's happening also, but the citizens are ready to react to very fast way. The terrorist attack, okay, is going to be killed. So
Yeah, and that makes a difference. Now, if the authorities know what they are doing, then we know it's a situation, but there'll be consequences. As I just said, at least that guy won't go back and do the same things he just did. There might be a terrorist cell, but even that, I think the authorities will try to locate them and make sure they are annihilated, and that's the right thing to do. Whereas in Europe, you are a bit like hesitant. We might be seen as racist. We should think twice before targeting the Arabs. It's like all this political correctness, which I know that in Israel also exists, but that's a small fraction of the population.
Of course, we respect the freedom, okay, of our Arab citizens, because as I told you, the Israeli Arabs, they have the same rights that the Jewish people, okay. But also, when something happens, we don't have any kind of. For us, is the first thing is the security of the people, and not it's the security, not about the Jewish people. It's about also about the Arabs, because when there is a terrorist attack, everyone can they kill every kind of people. Is they don't know if they are killing an Arab or a Jew, okay, or sometimes tourists, or sometimes I don't know. So it's a protection of the citizens, and it doesn't matter if there's Arabs or Jewish or Christians or whatever. So this is the first thing, is the security of the citizens of Israel, and it doesn't matter the religion, okay. It's not question of religion, it's question of the freedom of that to be in the street. And if you see a terrorist, the people, uh, you have to take in consideration, most of the people in Israel, they make the army, okay, women and men. So this is, if you are in the army for 3 years, you have, and a different, when something happens, you react in a different way, because you know how to react to these kind of things. You understand? The people is ready to react. when something happens, actually.
Yeah, you just refer one interesting thing that the Arabs or the terrorists, let's put it like that, the terrorists, they attack everyone. They don't care who is there, and if they are targeted, tough luck. And we just saw that on the October the 7th, like among the victims, we had Thai workers who were
Yeah.
no one in the middle of this conflict, and they just happened to be sent to Gaza, and they didn't care. They tortured in the same way they torture everyone else. Were you in Israel during the October 7th?
Yes, of course, yes. I was guiding a group from the States in the in the old city, and in the in the area of the close to the cities, to the old city of Jerusalem. I remember that I saw the news in the early morning, okay, and of course I had to give the instructions to the group before going out from the hotel. I have the group in Jerusalem, so I went to the hotel. I put all the group in the bus, and on the way to the Mount of Olives, okay, that we have, actually it was a Christian group. So I told them, if something happens about the sirens, okay, to go out, to go down from the bus, and to put in on the floor, okay, and to put the hands on the top of, to cover them, okay.
Yes.
So I gave the instructions to the group, and 5 minutes after, the sirens started to jump, okay, to listen in the bus. And the bus, I told the bus driver to stop, and we were down, okay, and we put in a close to the wall, and we stopped for 5 minutes, 7 minutes. The group was very calm, and then we continued to the Mount of Olives, to the mass. And when the group entered to the mass, okay, in the Mount of Olives in Gethsemane, the sirens started again, and I saw rockets, okay, on the top of the Al Aqsa Mosque, and our protection, okay, from the rocket started to blow up all the rockets on the top of the old city. And then I started to receive news that is happening some things in the south, but we didn't have all the information. It was terrible, because we started all the alarms and sirens in all the country all the morning, and we started to receive news, scary news. It was very terrible day, really. My life changed a lot after that. Yeah. And then after some hours, we started to see in the news what really happened. So in one day, 1,200 people were killed, and 350 people keep in Gaza. And today still we have 54 people in Gaza hostigate. So it's quite a complicated situation. Yes, not easy.
Yeah. So when you were in the old city with your group, and there were these missiles around the main mosque in Jerusalem, did you think that this is just another day in Israel with with missiles and all that, or something major is happening?
No, I felt from the beginning that something big was happening, because it's not only about sirens, it was all the day with rockets in Tel Aviv, in Jerusalem, and also the news that we received, that the things that were happening close to the border. And also the army took a lot of time to arrive there. We don't know why. It was very confused. Something happens, and still until today, the government is trying to discover what happened in our system. Okay, because the army took a lot of time to arrive to the kibbutzim close to the border. Something is not so clear about that, honestly. So
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot to be clarified there. 100%. You refer that there was a before and after in your life with October 7. How would you describe like the differences between that day and what happened afterwards?
So it's difficult to explain, but I felt that Israel is not going to be the same. I feel that is before 7 October there was a little hope to make peace between Israel and Palestine. Was destroyed totally because the 7 October was something that the Israeli people is very trauma. We have a trauma like a country. Many people, Israeli people living outside of the country, decided to come back to Israel, and many people that used to live in Israel decided to go out also. So it's happened a lot. Many people that used to live left the country, and people that just Israeli people living out of the country decided to come back and to go to the army. So I remember after 7 October to be in the train to Tel Aviv, and the government called many people in the reserve, okay, to go to the army. And I remember to see people until 40, 45 years old to be with the to wear like the soldier clothes, okay, green in everywhere, to see soldiers, because when you go to the army in Israel, after that you need to go to the Mulim. The Mulim is like the army can't call you. There is if something happens. So the government decided to call people up to 45 years old to go to the army, and it was terrible. There is a before and after. Israel is not going to be the same after that, and still we have a trauma about that. So it's not going to be easy now to, it's before there was any kind of hope to make peace with Palestine. Now it's going to be very difficult from both sides because 7 October happened, and then Israel also has a reaction to Gaza. And of course, I can understand also the other side, okay, that it's not going to be easy for the new generation of Arabs to see that Gaza is totally destroyed, okay? And it's not easy to see this like a child from Gaza.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be pro-Arab in this kind, but also I can understand the other side sometimes. And especially the children that they are not guilty for anything, okay? And you see all that another country is destroying your country, and you don't understand why, but there is a reason. Unfortunately, I don't. Yeah, it's terrible. And
Yeah, it's quite complex. So you work mainly in the tourism field, and I think it's actually the sentence is not mine, but I was told once that the first sector to be affected by a crisis is tourism, and the last to get out of the crisis is tourism. So I'm pretty sure that you are feeling the heat at the moment. So how is it going in 2025 after 1.5 years of the October the 7th?
So of course, when after 7 October, all the groups were left the country. Okay, I remember my group from the States. They took 1 week until go out from the country because was very, imagine all the people in the country trying to go out. So the flights were canceled. I remember you. Okay, many companies they canceled from Europe and from America. So there were not flights to go out. Only only Israeli companies actually continue flying. So it was very chaotic. My group stayed 1 week there since 7 October until 14. It was very chaotic, okay. And tourism, of course, everything stopped, okay, everything. And then you need to take in consideration also Israel was closed during the COVID in Corona 2 years. So tourism was in COVID, closed the country for 2 years, then 1 year open again, and then the 7 October. And of course, since 7 October, there is no tourists. There are Jewish tourists, okay, people from America that they have family in Israel, but Christians group, not so many groups they are going now to Israel. So there are few groups, and you cannot actually I'm not working anymore in tourism now. So I'm working in high tech now, related with hotels, but it's not related with groups and visit and everything. So I'm in tourism, but in high tech now.
Yeah. I think one needs to adapt, no? In these situations, you cannot be stuck. You need to try to understand what other options are there and what kind of value you can provide. Like that's the secret. Like people need to be resilient and see where do they fit in the new situations, because we cannot rely in one sector, in one field for the rest of our lives. Especially ourselves who travel, we know that one of the recipes to keep going is to be able to do different things in different parts of the road. So that's the way. Yeah.
Yes, Israel is very dynamic. Is very dynamic. Okay, the economy in Israel, thank you God, is very good. Okay, especially in high tech and startups. Okay, it's called the startup nation. That's why many people that used to work in tourism now is working in high tech or in other areas. Okay, and after that, so many people come back when I. But there is something good in Israel about tourism, that when the war finishes, I know very well that it's going to recover very fast. Why? Because the tourism in Israel is very different from other countries. So, for example, in Portugal and Spain, the people come because they are beautiful countries. But in Israel, the people go because they believe in God and they want to visit Israel because it's one of the Holy Land. It's the Holy Land. There is no other Israel in the world. Okay, so that's why I know that after the war finish, because the war has to finish in one point. I don't know, maybe 1 year more. I don't know, 6 months more. I don't know, but it's going to finish in any point, and the tourism is going to recover very fast. So I believe in that also.
Yeah. That's a very good point, what you just said. Like Portugal and Spain, okay, they are beautiful countries. That's out of the question. But let's say for some reason tourists cannot go to Portugal and Spain. There is also the south of France. There is Italy. There is Greece. So, like in terms of seaside, of course, the seaside is different, but still, it's repriceable. Israel is not repriceable. Israel is
Yes,
Israel.
exactly. Yes, it's the Holy Land with the holy places. So exactly, this is that you cannot be replaced for another country. So that's why I know that the tourism is going to come back, and it's very the people that usually come to Israel, they usually they repeat and they come back to Israel.
Hmm.
So
In terms of entrepreneurship. So you mentioned that you are also in the startup environment and you build up a couple of things. Is Israel, let's say, a good territory for someone to set up their own business?
yes, no doubt about that. It's yes. Yes, there is a book. It's called. It was written, I think, in 2008. The Startup Nation. It was written by American, I think. Okay, and I can tell you, it's one of the. I think after Silicon Valley, Israel has the most number of companies. Okay, in America. So this is we are a small country, but we have a lot of startups because I don't know if you go to Spain or Portugal. I don't know in Portugal exactly, but in Spain I know very well the mentality. The young people want to be public. They want to be a public worker, okay, with
Yeah.
a fixed salary, with a job for all the life. But in Israel, everyone wants to have a company, okay.
Mhm.
So everyone wants to create something, okay, and to build up a company, and then to grow up. And everything is international from the beginning. So when you open a company in Israel, is something is going to be global, because you are not thinking to sell in Israel. You are thinking to sell in Europe, in America, in China, in I don't know. It's a global idea that you have, and you start from the beginning to be global. Okay, and also you need to take in consideration we are in a country that there are people from everywhere, people from Russia, people from Ethiopia, people from the States, from France, from Portugal, Spain, Brazil, Argentina. So that's make a creative country in many ways and international. Okay, and we have a lot of influence from the States in that. That is the idea. European people usually has a job, to have time, but in Israel, the people think to have a company and to sell outside of the company from the beginning. And then many of these startups, they are bought for America, okay, by Google or by investments in America. I think 2 weeks ago it was Google bought a Israeli company in cyber security, I think, and it was the biggest business to buy a company in the world. I think I don't know exactly the amount, but it was like a record in the world about to buy a company about cybersecurity. So this gives you an idea that even that the 90% of the startup fell, okay, we want to open companies even that we fail, okay, we are not afraid to not to have success. We try everything, okay, to have a company. This is the idea of the young people in Israel.
Yeah, which I think is a very good principle, and it also requires a lot of courage and bravery, because we all know the backlash that you will receive if you get on the market and you need to introduce yourself as Israeli or Jewish. Like, we all know there are boycotts. Maybe 30% of the people are not going to be interested in your product just because it has the line made in Israel. But never mind, they will go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Even with last year, we were at war, okay, the last year, but I think we have a record of investment, international investment, to invest in Israeli startups. So that give you an idea the potential and the creativity of the young people in Israel. Okay, that they are not afraid to try. They want to try, and even that they fail, they try until to be success. Okay. This is something normal, and many people make business plans to get money, to people to join venture to give them the money to develop the idea. So this is something that for me is really, I don't know. I don't see this environment in Europe, or at least in Spain or Portugal. Okay, it's totally different.
Yeah, I would say it's like, I agree, it's like night and day. Yeah. Well, just setting aside Israel for a moment, why do you think in Portugal and Spain we are so interested in the public sector? Like, I'm not, but people love the idea of this job is secure. I'm going to get paid for the next 20, 30 years. Yeah. I might hate my boss and my routine, but never mind. At least I have a couple of tapas or my wine on the table, you know?
Yeah, of course. People here, so at least in Spain, that I know more people, or in Portugal, the people wants to have a safe job, to do the less possible in the job, okay? Because if you have a public job, you cannot to be fired, so you are going to be there until the end of your labor life, and so that gives you security. And the people here, they prefer security, and not to take risks about to open a business or whatever. It's another mentality.
Yeah, I mean, in their favor, in the Portuguese or Spanish favor, I can understand that the job market is not very good, let's say, in comparison to the Netherlands or to Ireland or to Germany. Okay, I understand that they want to play safe because there are not many options out there. But then the alternative is to be miserable the whole life. So maybe that's also not a good route, I would argue.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yes, I understand, because as you mentioned, the situation, the employment is not quite good. Okay, the salaries are not good, especially in Portugal. Okay, because I know the salaries here, and also everything is very expensive. If you go, so with a Portuguese salary, it's very difficult to live in Lisbon. Even yesterday, I was checking to the pricing in Lisbon. Okay, I have an apartment here, and I was this is very crazy, because I remember I bought the apartment here 20 years ago when I used to live in Portugal, in Lisbon, and it's incredible how the pricing to is impossible to with a normal salary to live in Lisbon, even if you want to rent, but if you want to buy, it's totally impossible.
Yes.
You find apartments free for rooms, it's €1 million. It's very normal now.
Yeah.
In a place, I don't know, even my apartment that I bought, I don't know, very cheap 20 years ago, now is so expensive, and it's a building that has maybe 100 years. So it's, yeah, it's doesn't make sense for me, this.
Yeah, it's insane. And it's absolutely insane. I was actually, as I mentioned at the beginning, I was actually in Portugal yesterday. And during the week, I spoke to people who said they have friends who are earning way above the average. They are not, of course, they're not millionaires or anything like that. They have, say, a well-paid job. It's a couple. It's not a single individual. It's a couple. And they still cannot afford to buy a property because, even if they buy, they're gonna be in trouble for the month. They can put food on the table, and that's it. And that's not what we expect from life. Life is more than eat and sleep.
Of course, yeah, I can understand the frustration of the new generation in Portugal and Spain, because people working in Madrid, Barcelona, Lisbon, or Porto, they cannot afford to even to live in the city. They need
Yeah,
to live out of the city. I don't know, in the Margin Sur here, in the other
yeah,
side of Lisbon, you need to go by boat, for example, because it's impossible. It's like, usually to rent an apartment in the city center of Lisbon is a salary, so,
yeah,
or more sometimes.
yeah,
So I don't understand even how the people can work, how can live here with a normal salary, because it's so complicated, really.
yeah,
So,
yeah. It's mad. It's mad. Is there anything you miss from Spain? At least
well,
one. Yeah,
no, the environment, of course, when you go out, because there are people always in the street, and this something I miss in Israel, because on Sabbath the people usually stay there in Israel, in having dinner with the family or with friends. Usually in going to dinner, but it's usually inside of the home, And
yeah,
if you go to Madrid or Barcelona, to any city, a small city even, there is always people in the street, and
yeah,
this is I miss, to see people in everywhere. It gives you like you go out from home and you can see people in everywhere. And this, even in winter, Spanish
mm,
people like living outside of the house. So yes, but also Israeli people, but more in summer maybe, because in Jerusalem on Friday night is empty. People is in the synagogues, and in Sabbath is with the family at home. Sabbath
yeah.
dinner usually. So it's very complicated to see so a lot of people, like in Spain, for example.
Yeah,
In the
you cannot compete with Spain when it comes to being out and about. That's a totally different monster. Yeah, that's hard competition. Even in Portugal, like, people are out, but not as much as in Spain. Like, I lived in Barcelona for 4 years, and I love the idea that after work, I didn't have to rush home. I could just sit and have a couple of drinks and food. That was normal. That was normal. That
yeah,
was the way to relax after work. And whereas Portuguese people, they rush home right away. Let's go home.
I
I'm
know.
tired.
Yes, I know. In Portugal also, I remember when I used to live here 20 years ago, that one of the things that I miss also in Portugal, in Lisbon, is that the street at 10 o'clock are empty.
Yeah.
So, but in Spain, you can see still people in the street, and at that time, and it doesn't matter it's a big city or a small city, the people
Mhm.
like to be outside. And yeah, in Portugal, now in Lisbon is a little bit different, because there are a lot of tourists now, and many
Yeah.
people living here also from outside. There are
Yeah.
many people from France, from Italy, so you can feel this. A lot of people in the city center of Lisbon now. It's very different. In 20 years, Lisbon changed a lot.
Big time. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah. What brought you to Lisbon 20 years back?
So 20 years ago, with a school internship in
Mhm.
Estoril with Leonardo da Vinci program. So I came here with the internship. I started to work in a company that belonged to a Belgian person, my boss from Belgium, from Brussels, and was and and then I met my ex-boyfriend from Portugal, and I decided to stay here. We built up a real estate in Lisbon, and it was quite a good experience. I love Portugal, really.
What would be, in your opinion, because for the Europeans, they think that we are the same. Portugal and Spain, it's all the same. They are next to each other. And
Yeah.
what do you think that we have in common, and what do you think that tears us apart? Let's put it like that.
So the common is the Latin. First, the language is very similar, okay? Second, of course, we have in common a lot of history, okay? If you see the history of Portugal and the Spain is very similar, okay? Even we were potence. So if you see in the 5 years, 500 years ago, Portugal and Spain were the potential in the world, okay? America, Brazil. So we have a lot of in common, but we have a lot different also. The personality, the Spanish is very dynamic in some ways, and the Portuguese are more calm, are like more, I don't know, slowly in some things. When I tell slowly, is that it's for good and for bad. So here the time is more quiet. It's like people is more relaxed in something. So it can be good also that. But for working, it's a little complicated sometimes. Yes, the time for me in Portugal is totally different. Yeah.
The fact that we take things easy and people are never on time, that kind of way. I hate it, but
yeah, and also Portugal has a lot of influence from UK, okay, historically, and also you can feel this in the humor. People has a lot of, they like a lot the British in some ways, and people speak here a good English. In Spain, we are more. In Spain, is more like we feel that everyone speak Spanish, okay, and also we only in the new generation started to speak better English than before. But my mother, for example, doesn't speak any English, okay, at all, and yeah. And we feel that when we travel, everyone speaks Spanish. So, but this is not good.
I remember like back in the days when I worked in Barcelona, it was around, I don't know, 2007, 28, can't remember, but there was a Spanish colleague who went on a weekend to Amsterdam, okay, with her boyfriend at the time. So she came back and we asked her, how was Amsterdam? She said, it was great. I loved the bars, the nature, the beer. Yeah. And I asked her, did you like it all? Or was there anything negative? Because you cannot get it all. And there's always something that is bothering you. And she says, no one speaks Spanish. And I'm like, yeah, it's Amsterdam.
Yeah, it's the normal. If you go to another country, you need to wait that the people doesn't speak your language. But yeah, this is something that is not good. But I think the new generation is changing now about it. So at university, the level of English is better, and yeah, it's improving in some way.
In terms of the Spanish view of Israel, I'm not. Let's say the people and the government. Like, how easy it is to go back to Spain and say, I'm living in Israel. I believe in the Zionist project or mindset. Do you get a lot of backlash, or you can get away with it well?
This is complicated. When I visit, now I was in Spain 1 month and a half in Catalonia, in Blanes, and I feel sometimes I don't feel freedom to speak that I coming from Israel. I feel that I have to be very only, so I don't speak to everyone that I come from Israel, in some way, that I don't feel very safe to speak about this. And also there are many, the social media doesn't help with the about the idea of Israel and about what is happening in the world. So, and the government also, is pro Palestine. So the relations between Spain and Portugal, Spain and Israel are not so good. Okay. I don't feel freedom to speak about my ideas sometimes, okay, because people doesn't know the situation, what happening between Israel and Gaza, and Palestine. And they think that the TV speak everything that is true, that many times is not the truth, okay? And it's very difficult. I don't feel free to speak about my ideas sometimes. I prefer to sometimes to be quiet, and even that, yeah, it's difficult, yeah, in that way.
Yeah, that's sad. In the 21st century, we should be able to speak our minds and share opinions. And if we disagree, we disagree. That's a dynamic, no?
Yeah, but now we are in a I don't know, in a time that the people is very radical in many ways. So people have an idea and they support Palestine or they support Israel, but in between the people don't try to know about the situation. They trust what the social media tell them. So it's very complicated. One person that has an idea to change that idea. And when you speak the opposite, you are the one that you are lying, even that you are coming from Israel, and you see everything. It's very complicated to change the idea. So that's why I prefer not to do. Sometimes I prefer to be quiet and not to give my opinion or where I come from. I prefer to be quiet in my corner, and that's it. Because it's not very popular now to come from Israel. So I prefer to be in my corner and not to take the attention of the people about this. It's not even safe sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. I experienced something very similar in Ireland when I was in Portugal. Basically everywhere. When I was researching about you, I also noticed that you are part of a Spanish group which is into writing, arts, culture, and that kind of thing. I don't know how much are you collaborating, but would you like to tell us about this?
What is the name of the group? You can repeat again, please.
The name of the group, I wrote it down. There's something about writing in Spain. I think you are.
Yes, yes, because I published a book 2 years ago with more people from Spain, and now I'm studying a master about creative writing in the School of Writing in Spain. That was one of the most prestigious school about writing in Latin America and Spain. There are many students from Latin America that they are coming to Spain, and I studying online. So actually, in 2 weeks, I'm going to Holland to the University of Arnhem with this school. Yes, I like writing, so I'm writing 2 books now. So, and one of them related with Israel. So yeah, we will see.
Let us know about it, because there's another topic I explore about here is writing. I'm a writer myself. Books are just on my back. So I would like to know what kind of things are into. Is it fiction, memoir, poetry? What to be your field?
So this book that I published with more writers 2 years ago was about histories, about real stories, okay, about heartbroken when someone broken your heart, okay, and how you survive, and at the end how the life, what you learn about this in life, and what did you get for good and teaching for the future in your life. And actually it's real stories, and my story is related with one person in Israel. So yeah, it's about this history with an Israeli man, and the history between he and me. And yeah, and now I'm writing totally different subject. Now I'm writing about the history of Israel before 7 October and how is the society now in Israel after 7 October. This is something that I'm writing now, and I hope that I will be able to publish in the future. I don't know when, because I'm still I have a lot of things now, business, studying, so it's difficult to find time to write.
I actually want to ask you that, like, how you balance business and creativity, because people think they are two separate things, and in some sense they are, and they are not always connected, and we struggle to keep all those hats in our head. So how do you find yourself available for every single thing?
Well, it's quite difficult, and was not easy, because after 7 October I lost my job because no tourists in Israel. So I had to focus my life and to build up again my professional life. Okay, but at the same time, writing is make me to survive to the 7th October. So I started to write again after 7th October every day. So it was one of my tools to to continue my life, to to trying to heal my trauma about what happened in 7th October. So I think writing is something that it's not only that something that you write to be in eternity, okay, in some way
Yeah.
that people that is going to write to your things, if you are lucky, in 20 years, 25 years, maybe you are lucky and you are famous writer, okay, but also it's something for your soul, something that is give you a tool to survive and to understand what is happening in the world and inside you. So yeah, it's complicated, but it for me it was everything. Writing, I telling you, after 7th October is one of my. I writing every day in the morning, so it's the first thing that I'm doing. It's not easy. You need discipline, but I think it's something that when something is not good in your life, is help you to put the things in order, to give you to reset your mind sometimes.
Hmm. And is there a reason why you do it first thing in the morning and not later in the day?
No, I prefer to make it at the beginning of the day because it's when I fresh, and after working of the day and starting writing is very difficult for me. I prefer at the beginning of the day,
Yeah.
but I think it's personal. Every
Yeah,
person is
100%, 100%. And I will be the same. I think I can access my core when I'm not covered by everything that happened throughout the day. So there are not many obstacles because I'm just exposed. Let's say I'm there's some nudity, if you know what I mean. Like I'm there for me, and there are no obstacles. And I think it's a privilege if you can just take, let's say, this 20, 30 minutes at the start just to access things that throughout the day they might not be there, because who knows what is waiting for you in the afternoon or at lunchtime. And
yeah.
when you start, it's just you and yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good starting point the day because also they put your ideas in order, at least for me, okay, and you focus better what is you need to do. I don't know. And at the end of the day, usually to make exercise, something that I don't need to think what I'm doing. So you go to the gym and you focus only in exercise, and you don't need to, uh, writing. You need to be focused and to,
Yes.
it's something intellectual. So you need to be focused. And for me, at the beginning of the day is the perfect moment for that.
Yeah, 100%. You also spent some time in Brazil. How did that happen?
So I have an opportunity job to work with Iberostar to be financial manager there. So, and in the financial department. So it was a very good opportunity for me. I was not happy in the company in Madrid in that moment. So I decided to give an opportunity. It was very really very good opportunity because always I have a dream to live in Brazil. This was the opportunity to do it and to make happen. And after the experience, I like living there. I very surprised how the people is happy with few things. It's not like in Europe that the people need a lot of things to be happy. I'm very surprised in Brazil how the people is very happy with few things, but at the same time there is no security at all. So you cannot go walking in the street. I used to live in Salvador de Bahia, and you cannot go. You need to go by car. You cannot stop in a red traffic. In Yeah,
Traffic light,
in
yeah,
the
traffic
traffic
light.
light. Yes, you need to at night. You need to continue even that is in red, so you cannot stop. I remember I have an accident. Well, not an accident. The car broke in the middle of the night between Salvador de Bahia and Praia do Forte to go to the hotel in Iberostar, and I was half an hour that it was like eternal because no one, no police, but I was very lucky because I remember to see people around me, around the car, and I was afraid that they wanted to steal the car or to make something. And then the police jump. They saw me, the traffic police in Brazil, and I was lucky. But yes, and I remembered in the Carnival in February in Salvador, when I came back at 8 in the morning. I was come back to the hotel all the night in the party and everything. And I remember I was in the middle of the between a police and I don't know, someone that the police, and I was in the middle, and I have a gun close to my car to me, because not because of me, because they were following to someone in the middle of the road, and I was in the middle. So
Oof.
that's why I decided to leave Brazil, because really it's complicated to live there. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a pity. It's a pity, man. I visited Salvador actually last September, and okay, we were on what's the name of that part by the beach, Baja. We were in Baja.
In Barra,
But
see. Yeah,
Baja was great. I mean, Baja was great until let's say 8, 9 p.m. There were no issues. But if you wanted to visit other parts of Brazil, you always had to jump on a Uber, or there was a friend with a car or things like that. Otherwise, you cannot just go around. It's a pity it's like that.
yeah, it's a pity, because I remember Brazil was the first time that I bought a car, because if you don't have a car, you cannot do anything. So yeah, you need a car, and even with a car is dangerous, because sometimes you go with the Google Maps and you enter in a favela and something can happen. So you never know there. And you need to be even in a shopping. It's very complicated. Everything can happen there. It's like, yeah, it's pity. It's a pity because, yeah, the country is beautiful, the people also, but yeah, the
Yeah, there
situation.
are those things. Did you travel in Brazil to other parts of the country?
Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo,
Mm.
yeah, all
Yeah,
the
it's huge. It's huge. Yeah,
yeah,
there's a
no,
lot.
a lot. No, I didn't have many time because I was working, so at the end it's complicated also to travel. And when you have vacation, you come back to Europe because you have the family here, so it's complicated at the end.
Yeah, no, that was always my thing. Like I never lived outside of Europe. I lived in in the good few countries. And I cannot complain, but I never spent some time, say, in another continent. I always had the dream of spending a year or two working and living in Asia. You know, Hong Kong, Singapore, that kind of way, because then you can make a living and you can also enjoy yourself. So as we come to an end, and it's already above 1 hour, you were also studying here in Northern Ireland, in Belfast. Uh, was it a choice, Northern Ireland, or looking for an English-speaking country, and just happened to be
Um,
Belfast?
so it happens to me because I was there with Erasmus program, and I put some universities, and at the end, the University of Ulster was the one that they give me to go there.
Mm.
So in the Belfast was a experience also very, I was studying there in 2001. Still many, you can feel the mood between
Yeah.
the Northern Ireland, between the people from UK that support the UK, and the people from Ireland. And you
Yes.
can see even you can feel in the neighborhood, you see the flags from UK or the flag from Ireland. And remember, to be in Belfast, the neighborhood, they have a wall, okay, if you are in a Catholic or even it's in
Hmm.
Anglican, so you can feel it. And even the rate unemployment, I remember, was higher in the Catholic people, the people from Ireland, okay, they have more unemployment. I remember to see tanks in the street even in that time. So was quite yeah, interesting experience to study there, and problematic. I remember when I was there, a terrorist attack still, and one Spanish student died even, I think. And yeah, so also I leave the terrorists in Santander because very close to my house they put a bomb, ETA,
ETA.
from
Yeah.
the Basque Country, and people die when I grew up in Santander. So the terrorists I experienced in many countries, in Spain, in Northern Ireland, and also in Israel. So I
Yeah.
unfortunately follow me, or I follow it. I don't know.
Yeah, but that made you more brave, let's put it like that. Well, but I'm sure Northern Ireland was just not terrorist attacks and things like that. You could also see the green areas, the seaside, the pubs, and all that. I think it's quite lively, Ireland as such.
Yeah, it's very interesting country, but also you can feel the historical problem about that. People, Irish people usually don't marry with people from UK, so they are living together, but at least when I was living there, maybe something changed in the last 20 years, I suppose,
Yeah,
with the peace, but yeah, when I was living there, still you can feel the environment, okay, and yeah, quite difficult the life in Northern Ireland. But yes, it's a beautiful country. Of course, it's the weather. I don't like the weather; it's very cold, but it was a very happy time. A student is always good.
I, yeah. We all miss that one way or another. Okay, let me just close with these notes. If there is someone here listening to us and they are hesitant about packing and visiting Israel, and they watch the news or their families are saying maybe you should wait another 6 months or a year, how would you, because you're almost an ambassador, as a tour guide, how would you tell them to pack and go? What would be, let's say, a word of encouragement?
Well, first of all, I hope that in 6 months the war finishes. I hope so, but I cannot. It's not in my hands, unfortunately. But yes, I hope the war will finish soon and the tourism can come back. Even I telling you something, they are still tourists now. Okay, I have tour guides from Spain and other countries that they are still working as tour guides, but it's not the same amount of people before the war. Okay, so for me, Israel is one of the places that you need to visit once, at least in the life. Why? Because it's a lot of culture, it's a lot of history, very interesting, the political situation and everything, but also the people from everywhere, a lot of religions. You can find people from Druze, Christians, Arab, Muslim. Um, so I don't know. It's one of the most interesting countries for me. So I think really you need to visit Israel once in life. It's a must for I think so.
Yeah. So you'll be back. You mentioned I think it was in May, in a bit more than a month. Are you counting the days to go back?
Yes, yeah, yes. I'm counting down the days. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But for now, I love Portugal. But yes, but I counting the days to come back.
Yeah. I think that's the best, like Virginia. I like to travel a lot as yourself. I didn't dig into that, but I know I'm very happy when I'm visiting other places. But from the moment I bought this apartment here in Ireland, which was in April last year, so it's nearly 12 months now. My whole concept of travel transformed radically, because I enjoy it when I am out and about, but then I'm also happy when I return. So then
Yeah,
I don't have this frustration of, oh, I'm back to the routine, I'm back to where I have my day-to-day life. I don't have that. I'm back, I'm happy. I go, I'm happy either. And that's like a whole cycle. So it's almost like a privilege that we can have the best of both.
yeah. For me, I work remote, so I can choose if I stay here 7 months or 3 weeks or whatever in Lisbon. I was recently in Berlin. I was in Catalonia. I'm going to be in Holland in 2 weeks. So for me, it's a privilege that I can work from everywhere. and I can decide it is I can stay, I don't know, all the year in Israel. That for example, the last year I was almost all the year in Israel. I didn't travel almost to outside. So, but in December I decided for business, okay, to come to Europe. And for me, it's something that I need to travel because refresh yourself, and then when
Yes.
you come back, you are discovering again your city or your, I don't know, other places from the country. So it's amazing to have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a next of it way to come to an end. So look, thanks very much for the chat.
Thank you to
Enjoyed
you.
a lot.
Yeah,
Enjoyed a lot, and all the best for your business ventures, travels, and return to the
thank
Holy
you.
Land in a month.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Okay, just for the people out there, so what we have on the pipeline. So we are approaching April. Let me look at the calendar. What we have here. So next we have Wednesday. Wednesday we're gonna have the individuals who are advocating for Israel despite the adversity. We're gonna have Eugene Doyle, who was here with us a couple of times. We'll have Rachel O'Donnell, who was our guest last year. And we're going to have Luciano Waldman, who's actually in Portugal, like yourself, Virginia. He's the responsible for the Jewish Community Center in Lisbon. And together with myself and Marco Alexander, who is based in Jerusalem, like you, Virginia, a lot of connections here, we will discuss. He's also a tour guide, by the way. He's also a tour guide. Maybe in June, and I'll be there. We can have a coffee, the three of us.
Yeah, of course. Let me know when you will be in Jerusalem in June, and I will be happy to meet with you and, I don't know, your contact, your friends, whatever, for a
Yeah, we
coffee.
organize a big gathering. So that's Wednesday. Thursday, we have another thing that I'm very passionate about. Is not related to this at all, which is the League of Fire and Football. So folks who are into football, we're going to discuss football 7 p.m. And next Sunday, so in a week from now at 7 p.m., we're going to have an Israeli living in Portugal named Daniel Hos, who is going to talk about how Israel is being seen, how is it to be an Israeli abroad, and his trajectory between Israel, Prague, and now Portugal. And on a slight separate note, for those who are in Ireland, on Tuesday I'll be delivering a talk about my book Harry Kernov's Guest, who was actually a Jewish Irish painter. So this is happening in the Charleville Mall Library in Dublin 1, and you are all invited. It happens at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, so it will be in person. So that's what we have in the pipeline. Virginia, again, thank you very much for the chat.
Thank you.
And we'll stay in touch.
Yeah.
Take care.
Sure. Thank you. Bye.